Today we're with Mark Hamstra. He's a certified PGA pro at Kelly Green's Golf and Country Club, and he's going to talk to us about sand. I call them sand traps, you call them bunkers.
Yes, bunkers.
What is the correct term?
Bunkers in the rule book.
All right.
Yeah, you can't find sand trap in the rule book.
Okay.
So that's correct.
It's like a man-built hazard to
Yes,
make
yes.
play more fun.
Yes,
Yeah, well, this is one of the ones that gives us trouble.
it does.
But first tell us a little bit about Mark. Where did you grow up?
I grew up here. Our family moved here in '71 from Chicago. So all my upbringing's pretty much been in this area, Cape Coral, Fort Myers. I've been fortunate enough to be at this club for almost 13 years now, so it's just afforded me some wonderful opportunities. Membership's wonderful, and just love teaching. I don't do as much as I would like just because of my other duties, but I do enjoy teaching.
Now you're a certified PGA pro. What does the designation certified?
It's just a couple of steps above a normal PGA member. We do some extra schooling. We're tested, knowledge base, and I took the route golf operations. That's my certification, and that just covers, obviously, a club like this, all aspects of what we deal with on a day-to-day basis.
All right. So 13 years.
At this club, yeah. In fact, in a few months, I'm going to have my 25-year PGA member. We call it the Quarter Century Club, and it's quite an honor. I look back when I first started, and it's hard to believe I'm going to be 25-year professional. But
will there be a party involved?
No, just a little award. But yeah, it's been a wonderful ride so far.
All right, that's great. Well, you're going to give us some pointers on how to get out of the sand, because you know, I don't mind being in any hazard, but anytime my ball goes in the sand, it's like, oh no, woe is me, because I know already I'm going to be struggling to get out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get behind this camera,
Okay.
and so I can get closer to you. And the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what is the first thing that's in your mind as you are walking into the sand to your ball? Okay.
Well, I think what players forget, this is the only shot in golf you do not make ball contact. So that's number one. The sand moves the ball out of the bunker. So what we want to try to do with our technique is to ensure that we have that. With that sand, we have a kind of a wet day, wet conditions. The sand gets very heavy, and we have to make sure we keep the aggressiveness or the speed of our golf swing up, and that would be the number one thing. We get in there, and a lot of players leave the golf ball in the bunker. It's because they simply, once they strike the sand, it just really slows that club down, and the ball just doesn't have near the power to get out of it. So that's what we're going to address today, a couple of those issues. So one of the things about a sand wedge, and you can use this club off the grass, people think a sand wedge is only for the bunker, but it's not. It's a very universal club. But if you look at a sand wedge in a square form, which this is here, what we want to do in the bunker is open up the golf club so we utilize this back part of the bounce of the golf club. This is what helps slide the golf club through the sand. If we have the golf club too square, what happens is the club will tend to dig, and that's when we leave the ball in the bunker. So we want to make sure we open the club. A lot of players, once they open that golf club up, they need to aim a little bit left. I'll show you that in a minute. But just make sure that you get this golf club open so you utilize that back bounce. So in the setup, we talked about the sand moves the golf ball out of the bunker. I like to look at this shot as an intentional fat shot. And what I mean by that is I'm trying to strike the sand first and then the golf ball second. So what's happening here is we need to make sure for a right-handed golfer that we place the golf ball more or less off our left heel like we would a driver, okay? That way, if we allow the club to strike the sand about the center of our body, the golf ball will not be in the way. One of the worst things that players get into is two things. Either they hit too much sand and leave the ball in the bunker, or they actually make ball contact first and we send it over the green. So if we get the ball position a little bit correct, make sure it's off our left heel. That way when we do strike that sand a few inches behind the golf ball, that sand will help move the ball out of the bunker. The second part of that is almost all good bunker players will put most of their weight on their front foot, and they'll keep their weight there to help them strike down on the golf ball or sand a little bit better. This is unique to almost all good bunker players. What a lot of players will get into when they do that is they tend to put their head way too far to the right, and that's when the sand, we hit way too much sand in the bunker. So when we talk about leaning left, make sure your head goes with it and your weight goes to your left side.
Okay.
So a couple of drills that we like. One of Julie's favorites, she came out in the Connection not too long ago, talked about the right heel being up. That's my personal favorite. And another one would be the line drill. You saw me do that for ball position, but this line drill is a great drill. That'll give you the idea where the ball is. You do not need a ball for this. Draw a line in the sand and just make sure that you try to take both sides of that line out on, equally on both sides. If you take too much sand on the back part of that line, ball won't get out of the bunker. If you get way over here on the left side of that line, you'll click it over the green or hit too much ball. So we want to make sure that we take equal distance of sand on both sides of that line, and that is a great drill.
Okay.
The other one would be Julie's drill. You set up to it, you let your right heel come up off the ground. That helps us lean. We talked about that earlier. And you keep that right heel up off the ground through your little practice shots, and that just helps you strike down on that sand a little bit better, helping you get that ball out of the bunker. So now that we've practiced technically, we've got into a good position. We know how to use the golf club. We open it up a little bit. We've done our drills. Now it's time to hit a golf shot. So we want to put all these things together, ball a little forward. We're going to lean left. We're going to try to take a little bit of sand before and after the golf ball. Golf ball pops out and lands on the green.
Almost in the hole, by the way.
So one of the things that I think is important out of a bunker is if we hit a shot and we don't get the sand to come out of the bunker, the ball's not going to get out of the bunker. If we make sure we get the sand to get out of the bunker, that'll help you get the golf ball out of the bunker. Then that'll show you how much speed it takes for you to get that golf ball out of there. So that would be kind of the last little tip for you. Get that sand out of the bunker, get in here with some attitude, and start hitting some good shots. The problem is, and I think this is for our membership here in any club, you're not in the sand a lot. There's not a lot of priority. We have a beautiful short game facility back here. We want you to practice before you tee off. Get here a little early, come down, hit some bunker shots every once in a while, just to keep this technique up, because it is a little bit different than it is off grass, and we just don't practice it enough. So get out there and work on it a little bit, and you should see some dramatic changes in your golf game.
Now, you've given us several tips. Of all of these, what would you say is the one most common problem that us amateurs have getting out of the sand?
Probably decelerating, not taking a big enough or a hard enough golf swing, misjudging how heavy the sand truly is and how much speed you need to get that golf ball. If I can give you a percentage, I would call a bunker shot probably 20 to 30% harder from the sand than it would be off the grass. Mm-hmm. And if you can kind of remember that, that'll help you get the golf ball at least to the hole. 3 things happen in a bunker that we like to teach. Depending on your level of player, you want to learn to get the ball out of the bunker. Once you learn to do that, you want to learn to get it on the green. Once you're good at that, you want to learn to get it close. You can't force that. You got to learn that as a progression. I'm trying to get the ball close. A beginner is just trying to get the ball out of the bunker. So whatever kind of bunker player you are, just kind of learn those steps and learn to get it out, then learn to get it on, and then you'll start to get it close. And that's a progressive of learning this shot.
If somebody wants personal hands-on lessons or training? Or what do they do?
Yeah, just so you see one of the golf professionals in the shop. Everybody's very knowledgeable. I do a lot of bunker lessons to the members. I love it in here. I think it's a shot that does require some work. In our clinics, we have probably one of our bigger clinics. Is only seems to be the bunker shot, just because people have a tough time with it. And again, we see that they don't practice. If you scan this bunker, there's not a footprint in this bunker other than mine this morning. So.
Mark, thank you so much. This has been fun.
Good. Thank you, and we'll see you in the bunker.